Hey, 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 awesome. It's your
Oh,
girl, Karee, on HWE Radio, where we are unapologetically empowered and always on with information and inspiration for your transformation. Look, I am so excited, so very excited today because we have friend of the show, Eleanor Murkey. I'm going to tell you a little, I can never just complete her full biography, but I just want to share with, for those of you who may be newer to the show or newer to Miss Murkey, who this powerful, dynamic woman is. So she is retired dean of the College of Lake County in Waukegan, Illinois. I like to say that she is a self-taught African American history aficionado. She is a life coach. She is CEO of Merck Resource. And let me tell you something about Merck Resource. So I have my notes here. So Merck Resource believes that being your absolute best requires work and ensuring that you have the right tools to use with this work is of the utmost importance. And you will benefit from affordable personal coaching from Eleanor of Merck Resource. And let me just share a little bit more. Merck Resource is here to provide programs that teach people how to reach personal empowerment while focusing on self-worth. It is with these lessons that one can become more self-aware and confident, and we can elevate ourselves to the next level. And so Merck is doing a lot of things, professional speaking, supporting professional speakers and facilitators in the areas of education, personal development, higher education, motivation, and entertainment. Now go to merkresource.com. Murkresource. Let me say that again. Murkresource.com to read more about Merck Resource and all of its programs. But I like to say that Miss Eleanor Murkey is a friend and supporter of all things AWE. Welcome, Eleanor Murkey.
thank you. Thank you. Great to be here. Great to
Yes,
be
it's always so good to have you. And let me just turn the light on a little bit so we can get as much of you as we possibly
here.
can
Okay.
as well. So listen, you came here when we first started our A Woman Evolves series, season
Yes.
1, and you talked about this upcoming miraculous event of having a building at the College of Lake County named in your honor to support and celebrate all the work that you have done in your time at the College of Lake County and actually in the Lake County area community. And so I asked you then, I said, Miss Eleanor, will you please come back to us? Because we were talking, I said, you should have a building named after you. She's like, well, actually, that's what's gonna happen. And I said, listen, when you do this, please, please, please come back and share with us. And here you are. So I'm really, really delighted to have you. And so I got so many questions for you. So if you will indulge me, I will jump
I
right in.
will.
All
Okay,
right.
I
All
am
right.
ready.
So I had a good pleasure, great pleasure of attending your ribbon cutting ceremony last month. And this was in honor of the newly minted Eleanor Murkey Community Center at the college. Whoa, that is huge. How did that feel in that moment?
Well, I'll tell you, it was something that you really can't articulate because I was in the moment, but I was a century away, feeling
Whoa.
that this center will be here as long as there's a college in Lake County.
Wow.
And I think that is like forever. So centuries from now, it'll
Wow.
be here.
I love that. That is so powerful. That's
I
that's
didn't,
legacy on a whole different level.
yeah, I didn't even say decades,
A
it's like
century.
centuries, when I think of, great institutions that's been here, like our university, like the University of Illinois, Penn
Yeah.
State. all these schools that started out small and here forever and ever and ever. So
Wow. You're going to
that
be there for generations.
for
I
generation.
think about Frederick Douglass and all of the old greats
Oh,
who may not have
yeah.
even thought about us celebrating them years to come. And people will be talking about you from a historical perspective, like you said, centuries to come.
Yes, yes. And yeah, and you said Frederick Douglass, but I was thinking about, all the great women that have gone um, before, and we are still talking about them, like Mary McLeod Bethune,
Yes.
uh, all of those,
Yes.
you know, um, great ladies.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Women who were evolving, right? And here you are
Yes. And that's what I
adding
like
to that
about that.
list.
The
Oh yeah,
woman
oh
evolved.
yeah, oh
Mhm.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, being in the moment is one thing, but now that that particular moment passed, what does it feel like as you reflect back on it, sitting here talking to us on AWE Radio? How does that feel looking back, that whole experience of having all those people come and celebrate you?
Well, I really felt so overwhelmed because I knew people would come, but I never knew that they would come. There would be so many people, and the overflow. They
Yeah,
talked about a streaming live in the
yes,
overflow area down in the library. I said okay, but I wasn't really, just didn't feel it at the time.
yeah.
But just to
Because you were
see
in the
people,
moment, you were
yes,
in that
uh,
moment.
yeah, and seeing that and just feeling it, it really gets down almost bone chilling
Yeah,
to think that things that you did just because you were doing them and thought, it would help
yeah,
you with your work or help somebody else had that much impact, on people. And, these institutions that you have a struggle going into from the beginning, going back into the 70s, and to think that you have done something that they want to memorialize your names to.
isn't that
you
that's
know
amazing?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and what they call them now, what is it, PWIs?
Predominantly white institutions. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, think about the Mary McLeod Bethune
Yes, and how
and
they
even Dorothy Height, our soror.
well, that it's interesting that you mentioned her because she is one of my models. Looking back on a career, looking back on where you want to go, because as I have grown, in the work and how time, moves on too,
Yeah,
being in your 70s, Dr. Hyatt was a person that I clinged on to, looking at how she continued to do her work, even when people wanted her to sit down. Um,
yeah,
I just have to digress to
yeah,
when President Obama was president, and they were having a meeting at the White House, and it had snowed that day, and Dr. Hyatt was supposed to be a part of the meeting, and they decided not to, send it, not to have her come. And she called the White House herself and wanted to know, are you having a meeting? And the president says, yes, but I thought the weather was too bad. She said, let me decide that. And she was at the White House for the meeting.
I love it.
So, Dr. Hyatt was in her 90s. So people out there, I'm going to be here as long as I got
Yes,
breath. I'm going
absolutely,
to keep on
absolutely. And
trying to
shout
help.
out to the living, because to me, you are a living legend. I know we're talking about centuries, past where people will talk about you and you'll be in the history books. But right now, you are a living legend, setting trails for, think about Sonia Sotomayor and
Oh
all
my.
of these amazing women. It's just, I have known you, full disclosure, I have known you certainly all of my adult life and most of
Yeah.
my teenage
Teenage.
years. And I just know the impact that you have left on so many, definitely me included. Just like I said, being a self-proclaimed African American history expert. And when you were here, when we first did the Her Woman Evolves, your interview, and you talked about being, I like to say, mislabeled, as someone who was unteachable, so to speak. And here you are with a whole building named after you and community leaders coming to pay homage, to you. It's just amazing. A living legend indeed.
Yeah, that's still getting used to that living legend. But it's really unique what you were just saying about the mislabeling and how not only myself but so many people. I think mine was a whole lot to do with being a cut up and adventurous, trying things. But
Mhm.
it's interesting that you have a program, a woman evolves, because that shows that we can evolve regardless of, what might have happened to us in our youth or teenage
Yeah.
years. But we continue to evolve. And it's really, every time I think about it, your title, the name of your program, it makes me sort of smile because, yes, I guess I'm a living witness that you can evolve. And
Yes.
there's just so many pieces to that, but just keep on moving, keep on doing. And I can't claim anything special because I just did whatever came into my head.
But that's what greatness is all about, is doing, operating from a place of authenticity, doing what you love, being who you are and unapologetic about it. Because when you're operating from your strengths, it automatically adds value and it resonates with people because people can relate to that. I love that it's not manufactured. It's you being who you are, doing what you're doing, and at the same time having a tremendous impact on so many people and on community.
Yes. And let me say that on community. When I started, and the things that the college is paying so much attention to or respect for was because nobody really cared.
Yeah.
When I took my job in 1976, there had been so much pressure, on the college, and I had one mission, is to keep us out of the paper negatively. But
Mm,
in terms of what I was doing, how I was doing it, nobody really cared. And that's hard for people to understand.
yeah.
But now I could have just sat there and collected my check because nobody told me what to do, how to do it. Didn't even have a good orientation to the
Wow.
job. But taken from my mentor, who happened to be your mother, Dr. Cotton,
I
uh,
happen to know her well.
when I first met her, I was still a little timid, doing what I was doing, but just, little pieces of it. And in our conversation, she was like, "You're the director. Be bold, stand your ground, do what
Mm-hmm.
do what you do, and keep doing it." So for me, I just do it until something stopped me, and I
I
didn't
love
have a
that.
force, stopping me. All
Step
time,
into your power. I love
yeah,
that. I
and that
absolutely. What an example.
and that's what I think. What you do with Woman Evolves is to help encourage people to step into their space, step into their power, and again, go until somebody stop you.
I know that's right. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for shouting out our co-host, my mom, Dr. M. Jean Cotton. We certainly want to give a shout out of kudos to her for all that she has done also in the community and all
Yeah.
that she does on this radio station. So for those of you who are just joining, this is, of course, your girl Korea on HWE Radio, where we are unapologetically empowered and, of course, always on with information and inspiration for your transformation. And speaking of transformation, we are talking to the esteemed retired dean, Eleanor Murkey, the College of Lake County, Lakeshore campus in Waukegan, Illinois. And we are talking with her about the amazing experience of having a building named
Mhm.
for her in her honor for the tremendous work that she did for the College of Lake County as well as for the Lake County area community. What were some of the highlights of that ribbon cutting ceremony as you think about it, Ms. Murkey, or as they say, Dr. Murkey?
Well, it's not quite there yet. Um, but my highlight was having my family, particularly my older sister,
Yes.
having your mom, and having another elder sister friend of mine, Kate Harris, to
Yeah.
be a witness to that because they were the core. And for my sister, like raising or supporting 8 siblings when she was just a young adult herself, about 19 or 20, I believe. So for me to be there and to see my 4 living siblings there, and for them to know that our name is, going like that was quite
Oh,
moving.
I'm moved. I mean, I feel chills just hearing you
Yeah.
talk about that. What a family legacy. And I was there. I could see the pride in all their faces, your sister mother, as I call her,
Mhm.
and all of your nieces and nephews, your brother, my mom looking on with pride, and like you say, Miss
Mhm.
Kate Harris and
Yeah.
her daughter,
Yeah.
or Karen Harris. I
Yeah.
I could just see all of that. There was so much pride and warmth
Mhm.
in the room. And I want to say that I want to give a personal note of thanks to you because in the midst of your celebration, because you're always celebrating everybody else, you're always the first one to get up and speak about everybody else, but you took the time to not only acknowledge these three golden women, but also to pay respect to my dear sister, Johan
Yeah.
Paris Cotton Wilson, who
Oh,
recently passed away
yes.
unexpectedly. So
Yes.
to have a moment of silence in honor and celebration of who she was and still is to me and to so many others, and to do that as a part of your program. And I know that she was so excited about this
Yes.
opportunity
Yes.
for you and was very much a part of the programming. So
Yeah.
I just want to thank you on behalf of
Yeah.
myself as well as on behalf of my family for doing
Yeah,
that.
but she had that bold spirit too and was pushing and was on the committee right up to next to the last meeting.
Yes,
So
yes,
yeah, you have to carry people with you, even if it's in spirit.
yes. I love that. Thank you for that. And there were so many folks. I'm not talking about just, I mean, it was great that there were people in the community and family and all of that, but I want you to understand the magnitude of this. I mean, I love that the room was so inclusive of everyday people, of
And yes.
students, former students, mentees of yours, but also dignitaries and community leaders, senators, just all kinds.
Mhm.
That is just an amazing thing. And just as you're sitting here, much less demonstrative than I, because I'm more excited about it, I think, that you are, because I know that it's still an overwhelming thing. I just think that it was so fitting. So if you never do anything else, and of course I know you will, just sitting in that moment, being very present and receiving that honor, it was
Yeah.
really, my eyes were fixated on you because you're, again, like I said, you're usually the one that is honoring everybody. And I just thought it was so befitting to have all of these dignitaries, from dignitaries to everyday community leaders, all of whom you would say are important to the
Right.
story,
Right.
right?
Right. For me, it was uh, for the whole spectrum. And
Yeah.
one thing that I had to come to reckoning with myself and being present and appreciating what was going on then, now, and in the future.
Yes.
Because at first I was a little disappointed inside, because there were so many people that I wished was still here on
Mhm.
this planet so that I can go nana nana nana.
I love that.
But you know, at first I thought I was robbed of that opportunity, and then I had to let that go
Oh,
and
absolutely.
enjoy,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
enjoy the moment, and to enjoy my own personal evolution.
That was beautifully said. And I believe wherever those people are, you know, in the celestial world, wherever they
Yes,
are, I
yes,
believe that they are
yes,
seeing and they do know. And they say the best way to prove somebody wrong is to succeed. And whether
Yes.
they're here or not, you still have stepped into your power. And the people who
Yes.
were supposed to be there to bear witness did that. And then your ancestors, as you would
Yes.
always say, were bearing witness. And
Bear witness.
that's what's the most important. And so we are all singing your praises. I
Yeah.
know though, what would you like to see the Eleanor Murkey Community Center stand for and do in the Lake County area community?
I hope it is used by people who are interested in growing our community, in educating our families and our youth. There's so much to do. We have schools and stuff, but sometimes we have to step in, around, and above and do our thing. Because when we have our youth going to school, the school is limited to what they teach or how they teach. But here with a community center and large, we were only in one space. We were in the large meeting room, but there's so much more space that will be available to the community. So people with programs that they want to share with youth, other community members can use that space. They can come in and hopefully with the information that will be available there, will connect to some of the things that was done under my name in terms of with the NAACP, with Youth Action Network and other things that will inspire people to do more and to reach higher.
That is so great. And under your name. I love that.
I love that.
I gotta tell you, I am hoping that A Woman Evolves can come and do. I know last year you did an amazing, you and Johan, my sister, hosted an amazing Stronger Than mini conference kind of as a next step from the National Stronger Than campaign. And I'm hoping that we can do phase 2 in the Eleanor Murkey Community Center. And I think I might have some strings I can pull to get that done.
And I would really love to be a part of anything like that. And what I like, and we were talking about Johan, but the space, when you're at the top there, when you look out, there's nothing but Lake Michigan. You don't see any of the buildings or the train station below. It's just the lake. And we are so connected, with the waters so it can pull together when you think, of the many rivers, many waters.
Many rivers to cross, as they say.
Yeah. So I can't wait to have something like that in the center. And that's what I feel about, the center being, even the name, inspiring as we, share and talk about, what was done under the name, not necessarily so much the person, but I hope the name represents.
Yes, I love that. I think that's amazing. Now, Miss Eleanor, this is a part of our Her Woman Evolves series, more specifically the Brownie Cornell Lewis Her Woman Evolves series, renamed after my dear friend Brownie Lewis, who recently passed away also unexpectedly. But one of the reasons that we do this series, and I'm so glad that we're continuing on in season 2 currently, but it's because just telling your stories to, like I say, preserve your legacies, because we are all evolving. I spoke with a lovely woman today from South Africa about her story. And I think so much, I thought about you. I thought about so many women we've interviewed, including former Dean Brownie Lewis before passing. Yes. And I think about that whole, Her Woman Evolves. And I said, to myself, as I was speaking with that young lady, I'm going to interview Miss Eleanor Murkey. And I have to ask her, what is the naming of this center? in your own name. How is that connected to your woman evolves?
Well, for me, and now I maybe should have been thinking about this earlier, when I was first learned that they were going to name, the center, the community center. But there's a responsibility to now ensure that people know that it's more than just a name. Why it's important, um, that it even happened, the things that went into it, again, the evolution of not only a person, but what was needed for a community, and how we must continue to, on that journey. Don't rest on your laurels. Don't, even with the naming of the building, um, gave me a sense of more responsibility,
Mm.
more that you have to do and be, because that is a burden on you now, because people, lift you up to that level, and you don't want people say what. No, you want it to mean something. So it means that you really have to, step up your game, not killing myself, but still uh, ensuring that legacy is really for real, and it helps bring somebody along. And I love, and hopefully there could be some kind of series with AWE, because it is a need for young women to evolve.
I love that. And that, you talk about the burden, and the burden is really about continuing on the journey and continuing to evolve. And,
Absolutely.
and as long as you are operating in the place of strength and authenticity, you just do what you always been doing, which is be yourself
Absolutely.
and do your thing.
Absolutely.
So I don't think you're going to have to worry about any pressure from topping yourself. I think you just will continue to do and inspire and lead by example. And I'm excited to see that as a part of my
Yes.
journey.
And like your mom says, start where you are.
Yeah.
Sometimes we waste so much time trying to get prepared, and the next thing you know, years have gone by.
You taught
So
me that.
drop.
You taught me that a long time ago. I remember we were first talking about doing the A Woman Evolves production, and I was trying to I wanted all the things to look right and all of that. And you said you just got to start. You just got to start doing. And I think that's something that we as women, we go through. We hold ourselves to the highest standards, and it's okay for us to operate in excellence, but we don't have to operate in perfection.
Perfection. Yes. You
Yeah,
have to start.
yeah.
You have
Now,
to start.
something you said a little bit earlier, you talked about all of those folks who had mislabeled you. And I think I wrote it down. You talked about when we were on the Her Woman Evolves season 1, you said they had mislabeled you as educationally and mentally handicapped. And this is by the Philadelphia school system.
Yeah.
And then you talked a little bit earlier about you just wish that some of them could be here so that you could, now say kind of like how you like me now. But I want to take the opportunity to summons those spirits so that you can say what you want to say right now
No.
to those administrators who clearly had it all wrong.
Yes, I think so. But you know what? I'm not going to say that to them. I take responsibility too, because I was in a place that I did not want to be. Um, people, when you're 11 years old, people do not give you a choice. My mother had passed away, and the people who were in charge, like my aunts and things, they didn't even give us a chance to say goodbye to each other. I'm talking, my siblings and I. So you go to a place and your cousins are like, what? We have to share with her. Why is she here? So you don't have any allies. When you come from a big family where you got brothers who protected you, sisters, it's particularly one sister that dared anybody to mess with anybody under her. When you had all that protection, now here I am out here on this island all by myself. I wasn't a good student as my cousins, and some of the people around me. So you just use what you have, and then you be the best cut up that you can be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that kind of thing. So I think the EMH title, that they gave me, educationally mental handicap, but a lot of it had to do with some of the mental handicap things I was doing.
Well, that's about owning your part in it, right?
Yes, yes. So I'm not too hard on them, and
Okay.
and I think they did it. I still got the paper, although it wasn't worth the ink that that I got the high school diploma,
Yeah.
uh, kind of thing. But the starting point after that, I think it's, again, I got to go back to the evolve, the evolution, because when I came out to Illinois, my mother's younger sister and her husband, they were like, this girl got to find some place to settle down. She can't be finding every march in the country to go took a ride to march, because the family, they always, the family was always productive, regardless of what the stumbling blocks. And they thought I was really getting to be a wayward child. So when I came, and I knew, I didn't have anything, I still marvel at the way people can go to an English book and look up the right word, the right comma or period, and stuff like that. But I did forget about the things behind. I forgot about my high school graduation in Philadelphia from Overbrook High School. And I took the GED and started over from the GED.
All
And
right.
then that was my new beginning. And again, that mental handicap, I followed, I had a job. I did learn about computers, and me, EMH, was teaching other people
I love
how
that.
to go from key punch to the tapes.
Yeah.
And I think I had this job at Brunswick, and they was like, who can travel? And I didn't have anything holding me down, so I
Wow.
traveled. And they had a menu. You just had to follow, the menu to be able to do that. And in this job was a young lady who was going to Northeastern University in Chicago. And I used to give her a ride in the mornings because, my home's past where she would go to school. So one day, because I had not really been on a college campus, I parked and I went in class with her. And I was in that class a whole semester, doing everything, participating in everything. And then we had to do a paper. And I did the paper. And when it was time, Dr. Carruthers, who was the professor, she says, Eleanor, I need you to stay after. And when everybody left, she said, you need to go to the registrar's office because I don't have you on my list. And I was like, what's that? She says, were you registered? A little annoyed. And I said, oh, I'm not registered. And she was like, what do you mean you're not registered? I said, oh, I just came and I told her who I would come into class with. And she was just outdone. And so she said, well, why didn't you register? I said, oh, I can't go to college. And she looked at me and she said, come go with me right now.
I
And
love that. I
and I
love
wound
that
up
story.
graduating. Yes,
Talk
yes.
about sisters investing in sisters. And,
Mm.
I do like what you're saying about taking ownership and kind of pulling yourself up and turning yourself around and taking the initiative. But sometimes, it's also about people being able to see through what's on the surface and see the diamond that's in the rough. And credit to Dr. Carruthers and many other mentors that I'm sure that you could easily name who saw something at the time in you, maybe women, maybe men and women, who saw something in you that you didn't see in yourself until you could reach that stage in evolution where you could pull yourself up.
And that's absolutely true, because I had elderly women in my community that looked beyond a lot of the things that I was getting into with some of the other children. I never forget, we had one lady in my neighborhood, Miss Dilly. at that time in the 50s, she was like, I think it was 1958, she was like 85 years old. And I used to do her Sunday paper. And a lot of time I was trying to figure out, okay, now where am I going to get that nickel from that I just spent? And I would wind up, getting her paper, sort of midday or at the end of the day. And she would tell me, now, wait a minute, this is a job. And on Sundays, people want their paper in the morning, not in the evening. And if you're going to do this, then you need to do it right, or else don't do it at all.
What a life lesson.
Yes. And then I had another dear teacher who passed away a couple of years ago. And I'll tell you, I was a cut up. And when I went to her class, she was like, Murkey, you're going to sit down and act like you got some sense in here. I'm not going to buy into that. And I did pretty good with her and stayed with her, even, and I was so proud that she was able to see me become a director over a program, at a community college.
It's called level setting, what she did.
Yes, yeah. And plus she was the home ec teacher, and I could get the leftovers at the end. So,
I see you still have that same sense of humor. That's amazing. Listen, I love that shirt, that sweatshirt that you have on. Great Merck resource. I love that. So how much of all of these vast experiences are kind of translating through Merck resource and the work that you're doing?
Well, I think one of the things is because of the journey, the people that I encounter for Merck Resource, and particularly the Idea Factory, is sharing a story, helping them seek out resources, is, to me, I see all of that as the blend to put together and pass on to others. It's amazing. You don't think of it or see it in a, very big corporations or businesses, but in steps of people taking a class or doing something with their children different, or an impact in their family. So I see Merck Resource not from this huge, growing a corporation, but helping people and connecting people, ideas, resources, and even love, recognizing what you already have, being grateful for who you are, what you are, and accepting every minute, taking responsibility for every minute of your life as you take this journey of life.
I love that. And you talk so eloquently about gratefulness, gratitude. And I have to give a shout out because Ms. Murkey does a wonderful, wonderful gratitude series that you can hear right here on HWE radio every Thursday, usually 9, 12, 3, 6, and then sometimes during the week. We love them so much. We just do the replays because we get so many requests to hear these wonderful, wonderful reflections on gratitude. And I love the fact that sometimes you're coming from your own thoughts, and then sometimes you bring in different folks that you interview and talk about different aspects of gratitude.
Thank you. And because that is so important in our lives, to have gratitude. Yeah, when you use a foundation of gratefulness, it just blossoms like just as the air we breathe.
So well said. Where can we find where are you all over? Where are you on social media? Where can we did talk about merkresource.com, and I do encourage everybody to go out and check that out. But where can we hear more from you?
Well, you hear like on our Facebook page, Merck Resource Facebook page, and also Merck Resource on YouTube. Awesome. Because all my gratitude blogs are on YouTube.
That's perfect. And for those people that want to sit at your feet to learn more about their own evolution and how you can assist them, how can we reach out to you if someone is interested in your life coaching service?
Well, you can go to the website, murkresource.com, leave your information there, or you can go to Murkey, Murkey, at msn.com.
Wonderful. You heard that, guys. Sign up while she still has some time. You know, she might not be available next week.
How
And
about
so what is next for Eleanor Murkey and Merck Resource?
Well, it's still evolving to be able to truly reach more people, to help people in appreciating and living life and taking power for our lives. We just go along like a leaf or a piece of paper in the wind. You know, we need to stop and say, I'm in charge of this spot in which I stand, and do something about it, and stop just being the victims or the consequence of somebody else's action. You do some action.
Wow. And that was a nugget. I hope you all wrote it down. I was going to ask you if there's something else you wanted to say to the people, but I think you just did. That was amazing. Oh wow. I just hate the time goes by so fast. Eleanor, thank you so
thank you.
much.
Thank you for the invitation.
Oh no, it's always a pleasure to have you here on HWE Radio. And I am just so proud of all that you have done. And I'm looking forward to what you continue to do. And HWE is always going to be available to be an advocate, to be a mouthpiece, to be a sponsor, to be a partner. So thank you for what you've done. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You heard it here, folks. It's HWE Radio with Eleanor Murkey, retired dean of the College of Lake County in Waukegan, Illinois. Just tons and tons of nuggets. Listen, please tune in every day. We are always on again here. Carrie Cotton and Dr. M. Jean Dawkins Cotton, our co-host. We're always here. We are unapologetically empowered. We have guests that are talking about the same, and you can see that they're unapologetically empowered. But listen, we always want to encourage you to keep on keeping on, be empowered, step into your power, and whatever you do, always enjoy the journey. Isn't that right, Ms. Murkey?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, until next time, folks, we'll see you here on HWE Radio. Have a wonderful day.
Wonderful time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.